Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will start with a post on the Craigslist. Those of you who are not familiar with what Craigslist is a website in United States. Actually, I think in many other countries, but it's pretty popular in US, in which you put out the job offers, you can find the apartment, you can rent out the apartment, sell things, buy things, etc. So there is a post, and we will look into it in a few minutes, advertising a pretty well-paid job. I have to be honest. $6,500 up to $12,500 per week to participate in something that can be very stressful and very intense. And what are the qualifications? I will read you in a moment. Then we will go to an interview that Karen, I didn't remember her first name, but now I do. How could I forget Karen, right? Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles, has given to CNN, fake news, but it's an interview that tells you a lot what's going on. And we're also going to scroll down through the comments. What is the current state of mind of the viewers? Are they already aware what's going on, or they are still under the influence of many things and brainwashed up to here? We also are going to read the article from TASS that is talking about a green light that has been given to Oust Zelensky as the Ukrainian Prime Minister Mykola Azarov makes a very clear statements about what is taking place in Ukraine. So when the Los Angeles area and few other places in United States are being affected, especially California now, but I told you many other places might have a chance to go through the same scenario. That's what Zelensky doing, running away. 700 Marines have been deployed to Los Angeles. And we already have, I think, 2,000 National Guards over there, if there is not more going there. I just want to say one thing before we go into this Craigslist offer that is so hard to refuse with really good money being paid. Let's just remind ourselves that if Hillary would win, she would continue what Obama has started. And actually, it was much before Obama, but Obama was, speeding up things. If she would win, the number of people that would be removed would be in millions, okay? In millions. And US would be first. And I think this would spread all across the world, except maybe a few countries that would refuse at first. If Kamala would win, they will still try to continue with the same script, but none of that took place. So now they are trying whatever they can do to replicate the same scenario as they have done in 2020 with George Floyd's story. If you still believe that that was the real story, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't think you will ever wake up to the truth. But let's look at the posts. Let's look at this. Well, let me first read this, and then I will play a video from this account on Instagram. Remember that part where I said that LA riots were orchestrated? This was posted a day before the riot started. The difference between a conspiracy and the truth is 6 to 12 months. And in this case, 6 to 12 hours. So let's read it. I will try to do my best. I cannot make it bigger, guys. So just bear with me because the print is not too big. This is from the Craigslist. As you can see, Los Angeles area, compensation 6,500 to 12,500, depending on experience. Employment type, contract. Experience level, no experience is required. Job title, operator. Relocation assistance available. looking for the toughest badass in the city, Los Angeles. This is private here. Seeking extremely tough, brave men for new crew I'm building. Compensation, as mentioned before, 6,500 to 12,500 per week. We are forming a select team of the toughest dudes in the area. This unit will be activated only when the situation demands it, but you get paid every week no matter what. High pressure, high risk, no room for hesitation. We need individuals who do not break, panic, or fold under stress and are basically all around kick-ass dudes. Physical strength, speed, conditioning is important, but mental toughness is everything. If you're not the biggest guy in the room, but you're the one people follow when things go bad, that's who we are looking for. Good luck with that, right? I mean, money can buy a lot, but snowflakes all over the place, just saying. We are recruiting those who are already hard, emphasize on hard, badass and ready for confrontation when necessary. However, we can train you if necessary. What we are looking for: mental toughness. You keep a level head under pressure. You don't panic. Bravery. You face danger head on. You don't hesitate. Reliability. Sorry, I have problem pronouncing. You show up when it counts. No excuses. No disappearing acts. Strength, mental and physical. You can endure discomfort, pain, stress, and stay focused. Team discipline. You work well under leadership and with others. You know when to lead, when to follow, and how to keep cool when things get hairy. Bonus experience. Military, except for Marines. We don't work with Marines anymore. A long story. Oh, interesting. I wonder why. Law enforcement or private security background. Background in crisis situations, technical response or high-intensity roles. Experience facing trained opposition, military or otherwise. To apply, send your name, contact number, and be prepared to talk to us on the phone about what makes you one of the toughest, most fearless, most capable men in the city. On the phone, please be prepared to provide real examples, situations you've handled, adversity you've overcome, anything that proves your toughness and reliability. If you don't have real-world experience, please be prepared to explain why. All right, guys, I was able to read it, even though it was pretty small. Now let me play this clip for you from the same account, and let's take a listen to the owner of this account who posted that post on the Craigslist, has just said a few hours ago. Let me mute myself, and I hope the sound is good.
The ICE riots continue throughout the city of LA, and more protests are popping up, but I found some very interesting things, so buckle up. Now, my whole suspicions that this whole thing was funded and set up from the beginning was right, because this has been floating around. This is a Craigslist post that says they're looking for the toughest badasses in Los Angeles, in which it says seeking extremely tough and brave men for a new crew I'm building. It also goes on to say you need to be physically fit, fast, ready for confrontation, and pays $6,500 to over $12,000 per week. This is posted right before everything popped off, and it even says former law enforcement is okay to join, but no Marines. Now, why would they do that? That's because 700 Marines have just been deployed to LA, almost like they knew, right? But that's not all. A brand new investigation just cracked open with this Chinese communist-linked billionaire, Neville Singham, who actually funds the Party of Socialism and Liberation that forced the hand of the Pentagon to release the Marines. Isn't it funny that his logo shows up at this anti-ICE protest that just passed on June 7th in San Antonio? Interesting. Not to mention, he lives in Shanghai, China, and I'm assuming he's made all his money George Soros style, but this is where it gets spooky. Can anybody tell me why not one, not two, but 3 Chinese nationals was just arrested smuggling in bioweapons into the US? Now, this is linked to a lab from the University of Michigan, and it said that this fungus can destroy crops and cause food poisoning. Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me that China owns almost 400,000 acres in the US around military bases and farmland, and now we have this? I think it's time we look up the ladder to see who's really pulling the strings here. Now, here's another thing I found odd. There's this website called nokings.org, which is anti-ICE, anti-Trump, but they just established themselves. But why is this site registered back in 2018? And I did some more digging. It was actually established in Arizona, but it had no prior links to this being a blog/video game site. So there's that. Then we have Gruesome Newsom filing a lawsuit against the Trump administration to end illegal takeover for the National Guard, which has escalated chaos and violence into LA. Everybody say it with me now. Set up for a civil war. This is what they want. I'm not buying it. You shouldn't either. They want a race war. They want a civil war. Any kind of war to divide and conquer because they know that there's more of us than there are of them. Make sure you guys hit me up for my guide. I have a book on a societal collapse and how to prepare for it. I think everybody needs this by now. But as always, let me know what you think below.
Sorry guys, he mentioned a website, but there is another website I want to present to you. And this website is Unión del Barrio. What is Unión del Barrio? Unión del Barrio is an independent political organization operating with a volunteer membership base and entirely self-financed through membership dues, community contributions, and local fundraising. We have dedicated ourselves to struggle on behalf of La Raza, or La Raza, living within the current borders of the United States. Okay, so somehow, some way, the person who is connected to this was just interviewed, and I want to play a little bit of this interview for you because I have many more. This will be a long video, guys, so if you have time and you are watching, I appreciate it. Let me mute myself and let's go to, what's the name of this? Unión del Barrio, one of the leaders, or the leader.
We are joined in Los Angeles by Ron Gochez, community organizer with Unión del Barrio and a high school history teacher. His group helped organize some of the protests in Los Angeles. There's so much to discuss, Ron. Can you describe the weekend? It didn't even start with the protests. You had President Trump threatening to cut off aid to California, federal aid. You had the ICE raids, and then talk about what happened even before then Trump announced that he would deploy the National Guard, and Hegseth said he's put the Marines on high alert.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me today. This weekend was marked with absolute and total violence, brutal repression, and attacks, coordinated attacks against our community. ICE agents have been around all over Southern California, kidnapping people, tearing apart families, and we see this as an attack against our people. And so that's why you see young people, the community coming out and resisting this repression. We are tired, sick and tired of these attacks that are dividing and separating our families. And so that's why when we have these protests, they have been peaceful, but when the repression comes from the state, whether it's the sheriffs, the LAPD, or on Saturday, for example, in Paramount, California, it was the Border Patrol, it was brutal violence. They shot thousands of rounds of tear gas, of flashbang grenades, of all kinds of repressive instruments used against the community, but what they didn't think was going to happen was that the people would resist and would fight back. And that's exactly what happened in Paramount and in Compton, California, where for for 8.5 hours, the people combated in the streets against the Border Patrol. And after 8.5 hours of battle, and it was a battle because there were people throwing back tear gas, people throwing anything that they could to defend themselves and to defend the workers that were being surrounded by over 100 Border Patrol agents. After 8.5 hours, the Border Patrol, the sheriffs had to retreat. They had to retreat because of the fierce resistance of the community, and the hundreds of workers that were in the factories around them were able to escape. They were able to go to their cars and go home. That was only thanks to the resistance that allowed them to go home that night. And so that is one clear sign that if we organize ourselves, if we resist, we can defend our communities from ICE terror, from the Border Patrol, or from any federal agency that wishes to separate our families. And so because of that, while that was happening, while that resistance was happening, we saw President Trump give the order of the National Guard. And so for us as indigenous people to these lands, to this continent, this is nothing new. The military going after us is nothing new. The United States and this part of the country is a result of a military invasion of Mexico. And so we know what's coming. It's more repression, but what they have to know is that they're also going to face more resistance from the community. We don't want to be violent, and we don't advocate for violence, but when they use brutal violence against our people and kidnapping mothers and fathers from children is violent. When they do things like that, we have every right, every historic right to defend our communities by any ways that we can, and we're going to continue to do so.
All right, you've heard from him. Now we're going to go to Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. But before we do this, I want to make some things clear. I'm under the impression that some of you misunderstand my opinion, because I don't state everything clearly sometimes, and I don't name everything, or it's maybe due to the language barrier. I just assume that you really know what I'm thinking, and I don't think some of you still understand what I'm thinking. Many of you do, but some of you don't. Some of you criticize me for what you think I'm thinking. So let me put things straight here. I, as someone who was the immigrant, I entered United States legally. When I was in US and I decided to stay there, I knew the only way to stay in United States is to stay legally, to go to the immigration office, to require certain documents, to go through the process of applying for a green card. And I forgot to mention the most important thing. When I entered United States, I didn't cross the river. I didn't jump over the wall. I didn't try to run away from another country, which again, I understand why people are doing this, because they feel in danger. A lot of those people, they feel that there is no future in that country. So I understand this. I have compassion for it. And what was taking place in the years when I was still living there, when Biden or whoever it was announced as a president, you know it wasn't him, and we know that he was not in charge of anything. But that group or those individuals who were deciding for millions and millions of people to cross the border, especially Mexican border, and enter United States, I remember those days because I was there, okay? And that those people from Mexico, they knew this is probably the only chance they have to change their living conditions, and they were able to receive support from United States when they enter United States, okay? But they didn't enter through normal way, as far as, you know, you go through the border, you go through the immigration at the airport, etc. I am not for illegal immigration. Think about it. If you were in Russia, if you go to Russia, do you jump over the border? Do you jump over fence? When you're flying to Russia, you need visa, you need documents, and you better make sure that you don't extend even 1 hour the allowance of that visa. So why we are having double standards here? I think some of you are like, this is not okay. What do you mean it's not okay? You legal? If you're not, then do your research how you can become legal, what you can do, what application process you go through. There are many ways you can stay in the United States. It's not easy process, I can tell you, but you can do it, right? So this is my take on this. Now, going to those protests, this is to me Black Lives Matter Antifa 2.0. It's getting to the point when they cannot create anything new anymore. And yes, of course, they want to create a civil unrest because none of those people who are in power, which we know they are not, because they are just taking the orders from someone who's above them, and then that one is taking from another one who's above that person, and intentionally they want to destroy the cities. They want to do it. They want to have fires in Malibu. They want to have fires in California. They want to have issues. They love it. It's almost like it turns them on. I don't know. This is not human being behavior, which, by the way, I addressed yesterday with Michael Tellinger. So make sure to check it out in my live stream. That's what I think, okay? And if I have to verbalize every opinion of mine, then, you know, I understand maybe some of you are new to my channel, but let's be realistic here. If you hate the country so much, clearly you do, you're burning American flag. So what are you fighting for there? Unless you responded to the Craigslist post. And that makes sense because you have a reasoning to do it, right? And when you did respond to that post, you know, there is a chance that maybe you will be injured. There is a chance that maybe you will be arrested, but maybe not. And you take that chance and you participate and you just have mucha after, right? And that's how you operate in your life. So now let me take you to another creature who knows what's in that flesh of human, but definitely not human being. The interview on fake news, CNN fake news, but we're gonna take a listen to Karen Bass, what she had to say. And then we're gonna read the comments from people. Yes, CNN viewers, what they think about what she said. So let's take a listen.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. So
Thank
what
you for
are
having
you
me
and
on.
your police force? I know how busy you are preparing for the hours ahead. What are you expecting on that front?
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday. When we find out when and where the other raids are going to happen, that will determine how the police respond.
Mayor Bassett's Wolf Blitzer here in the Situation Room as well. The state of California, as you well know, is expected to file a formal lawsuit over President Trump's deployment of the National Guard, perhaps as early as today. Your own police chief says the level of violence he's seeing in Los Angeles is, quote, disgusting. So why not welcome more boots on the ground?
Sorry, guys, I'm having some issues because my computer needs some cleaning, but let's go back to this. I'm sure you're patient enough to bear with me. So let me mute myself again and we continue with this video.
Well, no, I think the issue here is state power and state sovereignty. And so we do not believe, and what the governor is doing is separate from what's happening in the city. But what was the reason that the president had to take the power from the governor and federalize the National Guard? The night before this action was taken, there was a protest that got a little unruly. Late at night, it was 100 people. 27 people were arrested. There wasn't a reason for this. That is the concern. And if there was, the way it happens traditionally is that requests are made on the local level of the governor to send National Guard troops. No request came from the city of Los Angeles. What has happened now is an entirely different situation.
You know,
this is not the way to promote a cause like immigrant rights.
All right, I want to play some sound from Police Chief Jim McDonnell. Let's listen.
This violence that I've seen is disgusting. It's escalated now since the beginning of this incident. What we saw the first night was bad. What we've seen subsequent to that is getting increasingly worse and more violent. Tonight we had individuals out there shooting commercial-grade fireworks at our officers. That can kill you. And we have adapted our tactics to be able to have a chance to be able to take these people into custody and to be able to hold them accountable. We are overwhelmed as far as the number of people out there engaged in this type of activity.
So, you know, you had officers injured. We also heard Police Chief McDonnell talk about officers being targeted with Molotov cocktails, fireworks, rocks, other projectiles. He has also said that, you know, he's overwhelmed by the number of protesters. What are you doing as mayor to make sure your police force has what it needs right now?
Well, first of all, I'm completely in sync with the police chief. And let me just add that some people might think because they don't get arrested right on the spot that they've gotten away with something. And the message that I would send is that there's tons of videotape, and people who didn't get arrested today for committing violent acts don't plan on the fact that you get off, because you can be arrested in the next few days and next few weeks. So it is completely unacceptable, and those people that commit crimes will be arrested and prosecuted. I am completely in alignment with that. I know that when help is needed, that the police chief will call on that help, mutual aid from other cities or from the sheriff's department when that is needed. But I hope that it is not needed anymore. The rage should stop, especially on people's workplaces. The impact that that can have on our local economy. We are a city of immigrants. And I worry about the people who were detained on Friday, whose families still have not been able to reach out to them. The lawyers have not been able to go in and deal with their clients. This is unprecedented. This has not happened before. And so, again, you want to talk about chaos? Well, this is what contributes to chaos. Policies like that.
There are due process concerns, certainly. But back to what we just heard from the LAPD chief, you said that you're totally in sync with the police chief. He is saying that he's overwhelmed, that his forces are overwhelmed. What more do you need to hear from him to bring in more resources, to bring him the support that he is saying he needs?
Want to pass your certification exams first time? At Exam Topics, we've got you covered.
Well, what I was saying is that the support he has called on, and he has received that support from the sheriff's department and from other police departments. And so I do not believe that he was describing a situation where we cannot bring it under control here. I think you should talk to him a little bit further. But what we are seeing, for example, there's nothing happening on our streets now. On Saturday, when this decision was being contemplated, there was nothing happening on our streets. As I mentioned, that evening, there was a protest that got out of hand. It was a protest of 100 people. None of that warrants federal intervention, and that's my point.
Right.
All right, so I just want to mention something here. Remember that video, and she's talking about that time frame? This was exactly the moment, as I understand, when police officers, including some ICE people, were cornered because they needed backup, they were not able to handle this situation on their own. And this is exactly what she's talking about, that it was all under control. So let's take a look at one in this video, guys. Let me just find it, and then we will read the comments. So here are some numbers, and I would like to hear what she has to say in regards to this, how people are approving or disapproving what is going on right now. So just one moment. Let me mute myself again.
% of Americans approve of the Trump administration's program to deport illegal immigrants. A minority, 46% disapprove. Are Democrats out of touch on this issue?
Well, I think if you did the polling in Los Angeles, I'm not sure it would be that way, considering we are a city of immigrants. And then people might approve that policy, but do people really approve the federal government coming in and seizing power from a state and from a city? So I drilled down a little further on that poll, because I do not believe that Americans support the federal intervention in a city takeover or a state takeover.
Right. And just to be clear, the poll talks about American sentiment as it pertains to illegal immigration, but it does say that the majority of Americans, we should note, disapprove of sort of some of the tactics.
All right, so let's read some comments from here. This is from CNN viewers, okay? So far, after 15 hours, over 4,000 comments. Not bad. I live in LA, and these protesters were not peaceful and very disruptive for locals. I saw folks get bottles thrown in their cars and have people jump on their hoods just for trying to navigate around their blockade. I would love to see the actual peaceful protesters hold the bad actors accountable, because it's counterproductive to their cause. It honestly feels like a third world country this weekend, and the media inaccurately reporting on the severity of the escalation as dishonest. Both sides need to do better and not politicize right or wrong. Okay. I don't care if it's 100 people or not, they are still blocking the 101 freeway, which is a major artery for LA citizens. Maybe they should go protest at City Hall or in front of bus residents. Another one, you can't lie to us anymore. We can get the videos before you can spin the narrative. She needs to be arrested for obstruction of justice. She was letting the cartels grow in LA. Illegal immigrants was taking over LA, and Buzz thinks that's okay. Arrest her. This mayor is delusional. This woman is a liar. Look at the comments, guys. She's the epitome of why people can't trust politicians. Bullshit. That's the comment. She's incompetent. My kids can't play outside. It's so bad. Horrible government. Stop giving interviews to her. She needs to be fired. I appreciate Trump for having the guts to make the call for National Guard. Mayor of LA has no idea. She needs to resign. I think I read enough for you already. And to end the topic, because indeed it's a hot topic nowadays, but it's not even that, is the image, the idea they had to be replicated in many other cities. And just before we go to another clip regarding California, I want to say this. Yesterday, there was a shooting in Las Vegas, another place where I used to live, at the front of Bellagio Hotel. 2 people were killed, were shot. Those kind of incidents might take place in other places as well. So the point is, they want you to be afraid. They want you to be aggravated. They want you to be uncertain and give that energy, because that's how those demons, evil creatures, are being able to exist That's the energy field they take the energy from fear, from wars, from tension, from turmoil, and from people turning against one another. That's exactly, if we would unite and accept our differences, there is no room for them. Let me play you one more video and we will jump to Zelensky's topic, okay, after that.
Who keep getting online and insulting us in California, understand, we actually believe that California is red already. But what y'all are not getting is we live under the most corrupt state in the U.S. Understand, California holds Los Angeles. It holds San Francisco. These are two of the biggest places where all your demons and witches do everything that they do. So they're not going to let California turn red as easily as they'll allow other places to turn red. Our governors are corrupt. We have voted red. We have fought against Gavin. We have called him out. We keep doing it over and over, and it still turns blue. Even this year, when voting got finished, California turned blue immediately. It didn't take any time to count. It just turned blue. And we knew immediately they did it again. So for the people who are outside of California and constantly commenting on California, you guys need to stop being stupid, stop voting blue. We're not voting blue. We live in the area that you all worship. When you love your Beyoncés and you love all your music industries and you love Hollywood and you love all that kind of stuff, and Kamala is part of San Francisco, and like, you guys have to understand, all those people are here in California. It's 10 times as hard to get California to turn blue because we live under all of the witches and the warlocks and the demons. They're not going to allow California to turn red as easy as other places. So instead of insulting us, pray for us. Lift California up. Pray to God and say, hey, help them there. But y'all get on here, y'all call us dumb, and oh, hey, California, you guys just keep voting for the same thing over and over. No, we are not. I live here in California. I'm in the Bay Area. I know for a fact we are not voting blue. Yeah, there's some people who are, but a majority of us are red.
I like this guy because he says it how it is. And I have to say one more time, because I've lived there and I've experienced that during the 2020 election. And I have to tell you what he said about the industries that are located in California. Exactly. This is what it is. Hollywood, music industry, children sacrifice. And let's not forget, if you have the nephew of Nancy Pelosi, Gavin Newsom is the nephew of Nancy Pelosi. You have this entire dynasty of people that are trained, groomed, prepared from the very early age. Even maybe before they are born, they knew the next one will take care of this position, the next one will be that. How you pull that out from that region, how you clean that mess up. It's a process, painful process. And it's, one of the most beautiful places as far as the nature and the location. It's beautiful. But it has been so affected by the politics that it's really heartbreaking. And what he says is 100% true. So now let's go to Zelensky's story. So today the video is mainly about California, but All right, Zelensky, what's up with this one? His time is finally up, please God. This is from TASS from yesterday, June 5th. US starts efforts to oust Zelensky, ex-Ukrainian prime minister believes. Nikolai Azarov noted the arrival of about 100 American auditors in Kiev to oversee the spending of funds allocated by Washington. The United States has already written off Vladimir Zelensky and has launched serious efforts to remove him from power. Former Ukrainian Prime Minister, he was a Prime Minister from 2010 to 2014, so just before Maidan situation, Nikolai Azarov said, "This is agony. It is quite clear that the Americans have dismissed him and are now working to remove him from power." Azarov stated on the Rossiya 24 TV channel. He recalled the recent detention of Leonid Mindych, reported just a few days ago. According to Azarov, Mindych, sorry how I pronounce it, is a well-known purse of the head of Zelensky's office, Andrei Yermak, and of Zelensky himself. The former prime minister noted that the detention was carried out not by the Prosecutor General's office, by the National Anti-Corruption Bureau of Ukraine and the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor's Office. The Americans established this body, fully staffing it with their own people, so it is subordinate only to them. They gave the command, and Mindych was detained while trying to cross the Romanian border. He also noted the arrival of about 100 American auditors in Kiev to oversee the spending of funds allocated by Washington. This is a serious point because not Lindsey Graham, but experts, I'm not going to read the rest here, but experts in US budget expenditure have arrived here. So they are not taking rhinos, but the experts from the budget expenditure. All this would be impossible without a direct command from the White House, the former prime minister said. According to him, this is a clear sign that serious work has begun to oust Zelensky. If he does not want to leave, then he will be removed. Azarov continued. He added that the process will be gradual. This procedure includes a range of stages during which he will be persuaded that he can lose everything, both money and freedom. The former prime minister explained. So guys, what do you think is gonna happen? In my opinion, he is playing this role. I think there are several Zelenskys, not just one, but he's playing the role as he was ordered to play this role, commissioned to play this role. So what is the final act in his performance? I believe, sooner or later, he will face the tribunals in Russia for the crimes against humanity. That's my take on that. And with this, I will leave you for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you appreciate the content that I provide, hit the thumbs up. It's free of charge, and it really helps the algorithm, even though YouTube is doing their own shenanigans. Subscribe to my channel, also free of charge. I really appreciate your support on PayPal, Patreon, and Locals, and all your donations there. It really keeps me going, guys. And every link that I was presenting to you today will be attached down below in the description box. As far as the Instagram, what I am going to do, let me show you one more time. You go on the main page of my Instagram. This is right here, AniaK_44. You click on the profile photo and you will have the stories that I was playing for you today attached right here, so you can watch it over there. And that's it. Lots of love. And remember, we are the leading edge and we are saving humanity, and do not give into fear. Someone said in some comments that someone who does not know me at all said that I always look like I'm afraid. You know, I already learned, YouTube teaches you a lot of things, and taught me a lot actually in my life. About myself, about the energies, about people. When you know who you are, you don't have to explain yourself to those who don't know you and will never really know you, will never meet you in person, will never have a chance to experience you in real life in person. So when you know who you are, don't waste your energy on explaining to others. All I will say, don't give in to fear, be still, and know that there is God. Bye everyone, and I see you in another video.